Hi, I'm Bree, and I'm so glad you could join me today. Today's practice is going to be a bit more of a flow, a good way to wake up, whether you worked first or third shift. So a good practice to wake the body up and get going. Expect to move a little quicker with some repetition, just waking up our body, strengthening and stretching our legs quite a bit, and a little bit of twisting. Props that you'll need today are 2 blocks and a blanket, and I will meet you on the mat. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position, so take your time to get there. You can hit pause if you need to, grab your props, and I'll see you in a moment. Hi, welcome to your mat. I hope you've had a chance to find a comfortable seat. If not, go ahead and take that now. And that can be anywhere that feels right, seated on the knees. I'm currently using a blanket under my hips to support me as I sit cross-legged. That's my go-to comfortable seat. Legs can be extended long, whatever feels best for your body today. And then once you've found that comfortable seat, take a moment to settle in. Finding a place to rest the hands that feel stable so the shoulders can soften a little bit. I like to rest my hands on the knees, but they can be folded in your lap if that feels better. And then give yourself permission to fully arrive in this moment. Letting go of everything else about your day and starting to connect with this moment on your mat in this seat. It may feel nice to let your eyelids grow heavy and close either all the way or softening down towards the floor so that not too much light is coming in. And if it feels good for you here, I invite you to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And return to breathing naturally in and out through your nose. And before we start moving today, we're going to practice a little pranayama or breath work known as nadi shodhana, which is in English alternate nostril breathing. Our nadis are the energy channels that move through our body, and they link both hemispheres to our nostrils. So we're helping to wake those up and get that energy flowing and moving right at the start of our day. So to start nadi shodhana, you will bring up your right or left hand, whichever is your dominant, and we will keep the thumb and last 2 fingers open and go ahead and fold in. You can do like whatever hand motion feels best. You can do like tuck the first 2 fingers or all 3 and use your thumb and your pinky, whichever feels best. Or I know some like to actually place the first 2 fingers on the third eye in between the eyebrows and move with the thumb and pinky that way, which this is how I will practice. But if you prefer just not touching your forehead, that's okay too. So we'll start. Go ahead and bring your hand close to your nostrils, either loose or touching the forehead. And first, take a slow, deep breath through both nostrils, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then using your thumb, close the right nostril. Take an inhale through the left nostril. And then close off the left nostril with the pinky, open the right with the thumb, exhale through the right. Then inhale, right nostril. Close the right, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. Close the left, open the right, exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. Close the left, open the right, exhale right. Inhale right. Close the right, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. And then inhale both nostrils, let your hands soften back to your lap. Exhale both nostrils. Inhale, slow, deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And return to breathing naturally in and out through your nose. And settle in here for a moment. Take a moment to notice what you're feeling. Acknowledging the space that you're in. Take a few more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, if your eyes are closed, start to gently open them. Letting in a little bit of light at a time. And take a moment to readjust to your surroundings. Check in that you have everything that you need before we start, a blanket, 2 blocks. Then whenever you feel ready, moving gently, we're going to go ahead and come forward to hands and knees. So if you're like me and you're seated on a blanket, take a moment to move that out of your way. And if you have any sensitivity in the knees, because we will be here for a little bit, you can take the blanket and unfold it a time or two, whatever you need, and place that on your mat so that your knees have a little bit extra cushion. Then once you come to hands and knees, take a moment to get yourself where you feel stable. So hips will be directly above the knees. Knees can be pretty close together, directly underneath of the hips, or if it feels better, the knees can go slightly wider than the hips, creating a little bit of space there. And then wrists can be either directly beneath your shoulders, so we're making a line here, or if you have sensitivity in the wrist and that feels crunchy, you can walk the hands about a handprint in front of that, maybe slightly less, to release a little bit of that tension. But once you feel stable on hands and knees here, take a moment before we start to move just to check in with what you're feeling. See if you can press the entire hands, fingertips, palms, all four corners of it into your mat firmly. Draw the shoulders down and back away from the ears if they're starting to round up. So we're getting active here. Draw the low belly in and up towards the spine just slightly so that our spine can come to neutral and our core is activated just a little bit to support the spine. And then check in that your legs feel stable where they are. Then whenever you feel ready, on an inhale, we'll start to lift our tailbone up behind us, sink the belly down towards the floor, lift the heart, lift the gaze, coming into cow pose. And exhaling to tilt the tailbone down towards the floor, round the spine in a wave as it comes up through our shoulder blades, dropping the gaze back towards the knees for cat pose. Inhale, lift the tail, sink the belly, lift the heart, lift the gaze. And exhale, round the spine in a wave, coming up to cat. Inhale, sink the belly. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, sink the belly. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, belly down. Exhale, belly up. Inhale. Exhale. Two more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring your spine back to neutral. Check in that you feel stable. Extend that left leg long, so we're going to shift our way over onto that right hip. Plant your left toes. And then on your next exhale, press out through that left heel, getting a little bit of lengthening through that left leg. Breathe here. And then on your next exhale, turn and ground that left heel down behind you so the heel is kind of close towards being behind the right foot or right toes. Make sure that that feels stable and you can press into that heel really well. And then walk that right hand in just a little bit so that it's back underneath the shoulder or slightly forward if that feels more stable. And then on an inhale, we're going to start to open our hips towards the front, towards the screen if you're looking at me. And then as the hips open, the heart is automatically going to start turning. Encourage that heart lifting and open deeper so we're starting to stack the shoulders. Left hand can come onto the left hip, or inhale and extend those left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, wherever feels stable, breathe here. One more breath. On your next exhale, start drawing the heart back down towards the mat. Bring that left hand back down. Once the hand is planted and feels stable, lift that left heel and then bring the left knee back to your mat. And take a moment here to move in any way that feels right, maybe rocking the hips side to side. And whenever you feel ready, we'll do that same thing on the right side. So exhaling to extend the right leg long, plant the toes. Once that feels stable, press out through that right heel, getting some extension in that right leg. Then on your next exhale, turn and ground that right heel down to the mat so it's almost behind the left toes. Take a moment to make sure your left hand feels stable where it is. And then whenever you're ready, on an inhale, start to open those hips towards whatever's behind you, away from that screen. And then as that lifts, the heart's going to try to follow, so let it, encouraging that heart opening out. Right hand can come to the right hip, or fingertips can extend up towards the ceiling. Check in with your neck. See if you're still extending out through the crown of your head, straight out above you, like you're making a line from your crown of your head all the way down to the right toes. So we're not crunching our neck in or letting our head fall back behind us. And keep breathing. Take one more breath here. And on your next exhale, start to bring those right fingertips back down towards the mat. The hip will start to follow, so when it feels stable, lift the right heel. Bring the right knee back to your mat. Take a moment to move in any way that feels right. And then from here, we're going to take a puppy pose. So our next step is to check in that these hips are above the knees. So we may need to walk back a little bit on our mat to get them there. And then keep the hips here. When we start to move, they're going to have this urge to fold forward, but don't let them. Try and keep them stacking above the knees. Then inhale here. And as you exhale, one handprint at a time, start to walk your hands forward. And as your hands move forward, the heart's going to start to lower down towards the mat. If your hands are walking forward so much, you might find that you can let your ears come to rest between your upper arms. They may walk forward enough to where your forehead can come to rest on either a block or down on your mat. Whatever feels best here. And check in that you didn't let your hips sink back or forward, so they're still stacking above the knees. And keep breathing. One more breath. And on your next inhale, just as slowly as you lower it, start by lifting your head and then walking the hands in just a little bit at a time. And then once the hands come back underneath the shoulders, take the knees wide, perhaps about as wide as your mat. Big toes come to touch behind you, and exhale, sink the hips down and back towards the heels, coming into a child's pose. So the arms are going to slide forward again, and you may find that it feels best here after that to let the forehead rest on a block on any height, or it may come all the way down to the mat. Wherever it comes, let your arms rest. So let the elbows come to rest on the mat. And breathe here.
One more breath here. Then whenever you feel ready on an inhale, lift your head. If there was a block under your forehead, take a moment to move that out of your way. And then once that's out of your way, take a moment to move in any way that feels right. I usually like to stay here for just a moment, hips sinking down and back. And then on an inhale, gently lift back up. Bring the knees back together. Take a moment to let the hips rock side to side. Then from here, on an inhale, we're gonna lift up into downward facing dog. So to get here, if your hands are beneath your shoulders, we're gonna walk the hands about a full handprint in front of the shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. Press into the whole mat with your whole hands, all four corners of the palm. Once we lift up, check in that this muscle in between the first finger and the thumb doesn't lift away from the mat, because it's going to try to usually. See if you can keep that pressing down. So our whole hands are planted. And then we'll tuck our toes, take a moment to prepare. Then on an inhale, we're going to press into our feet to lift our hips up and back, coming to downward facing dog. And there are a lot of different variations here that you can try out to find what feels best for you. Feet can be together. Feet can be as wide as the mat. Knees can bend slightly. Actually, let's all give that a try here. Bend the knees a little bit. See if you can press the hips up and back a little bit farther. And breathe there. Notice how that feels. If it feels like your legs want to straighten, let them. But if that bent knee feels the most stable, breathe there. One more breath here. On your next inhale, look forward to your hands. Then we're going to step that right foot forward between our hands. And that sounds crazy, but the way that I find that feels the most stable for me is to walk that left foot in just a little bit more middle of the mat. And then swing that right leg out to the side and then step it forward. And if it doesn't get all the way there, you can reach back with the hand and bring it up. So now we're in like a runner's lunge. And we'll breathe here. You can bring your hands up onto your blocks. Create a little space to breathe. Keep extending out through that back leg. Try not to let your head droop forward or lift up really high. We want to keep that same line, crown of the head drawing straight down and back like it's connecting to our toes. And one more breath here. And then on your next exhale, bend that left knee, bring it down to the mat. If you have that blanket there, awesome. Once that knee is on the mat, take a moment to find what feels best for it. The toes can stay tucked under, or you can untuck the toes. Let the top of the foot rest on the mat. Take a breath here. And if you don't have your blocks yet, go ahead and grab them. And we're going to bring them up onto their tallest height. So we're going to lift our chest a little bit higher. Lift our gaze so we're looking straight out in front of us. Then on an inhale, back out of this lunge just a little bit, bringing the hips back, stacking on top of that left knee. Take a breath here. Then on your next exhale, hinge the hips forward and down slightly as you come into this lunge. Keep the heart lifted, shoulders drawing down and back away from the ears. Hands can press into those blocks however feels best. One more breath. On your next inhale, start to bring those hips back above that left knee. And then on your next inhale, tuck the toes if they aren't already tucked. And inhale, lift the left knee. So we come back to that runner's lunge. This next one feels like a bit of a magic trick, but on an inhale, you're gonna look to the front edge of your mat, press down firmly through that right foot, and then inhale. You can kind of bounce a little bit here to get a little bit of momentum. And then when you inhale, we're gonna step that left foot forward to meet the right. Forward fold. So the feet can be together here or slightly wider. I usually like about hip distance apart, but you can go wider if that feels best. I like keeping the blocks here nearby so I have something to ground the hands into. And then on an inhale, lift your heart. Come up to a neutral spine, about halfway lifted. And then exhale, fold deeply. Release the crown of the head down towards the floor. You can keep the legs extended, or it may feel nice to let the knees get a little soft so you can bend slightly at the knees here. May feel nice here to kind of hang loose, like let the arms rest down or hold opposite elbows, dangling like a rag doll. If you're holding opposite elbows on an exhale, release the fingertips back down towards the floor or your blocks. Then inhale, lift halfway, come back to that neutral spine. Lift the gaze slightly. Then exhale and fold. On your next inhale, we're gonna lift all the way up to the stand, sweeping the arms out and up, stretching up tall. Then exhale, palms together, hands in front of your heart. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. One more time, just like that. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. This time, once your hands come to your heart, start to hinge forward again, fold at the hips. Bring the hands back to your mat or your blocks. Then inhale, lift halfway, come back to that neutral spine. Exhale, fold deeply. And as you fold here, we're gonna step that right foot back, coming all the way back into that runner's lunge. Take a moment to adjust here. Grab your blocks if they feel the most stable. And breathe. Seeing if we can stack that left knee above that left ankle. And breathe here. Keep pressing out through that back heel. Then on your next exhale, release that right knee to your mat. If you don't have your blocks yet, go ahead and grab them and bring them up onto their tallest height. Inhale, bring the hips back in line so they're stacking above that right knee. Take a moment. And whenever you feel ready, on an exhale, we'll sink those hips forward and down, coming back into this lunge. Again, the back toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels best for that right knee. Keep breathing here. One more breath. On your next inhale, back out of that lunge a little bit. Bring the hips back above the knee. Then whenever you're ready, tuck those right toes. On an inhale, lift the right knee. Come back to that runner's lunge for just a moment. And then whenever you feel ready on an inhale, you can get that momentum going again by bouncing or rocking. And then on an inhale, we're going to step that right foot forward to meet the left, coming back to the top of our mat. Same option here, feet can be together or slightly wider. I like mine about hip distance apart. Inhale, lift halfway, come to that neutral spine. And exhale, fold deeply. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. One more just like that. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale and fold. And this time as you inhale, we're going to sweep the arms out and up, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, palms together, hands in front of the heart. And if you still have a blanket on your mat, go ahead and slide that off out of the way. And I'm going to turn this way so you can see me a little more clearly. Then once here, take a moment to ground down through both feet. Check in that you feel stable here. Do your feet feel where they most naturally feel aligned? If you're not sure, take a moment to rock back and forth on the feet, moving from the balls to the heels, and they may naturally start to settle in their most comfortable place. Then once you find that place, we're going to ground down through both feet. So often we just kind of stand like on accident, like no, there's not intention in our stance. So for today, I want to try bringing that attention in. So activate the feet. And if you're not sure what that means, lift up your toes. Notice the difference. Lower the toes back down and then lift them up again. Do you feel those muscles starting to activate, especially in the arches? And then that same energy working its way up the calves. The kneecaps draw in and up slightly. Thighs activate. Keep that strength in the legs and lower the toes back down. It might soften a little, but see if you can encourage it to stay strong. And then take that same energy and draw it up through your belly, drawing the low belly in and up so the spine extends, we stand up tall. Soften the shoulder blades down and back away from the ears. Let the jaw come close to parallel to the floor if that's comfortable. Let your eyes close gently. Settle into this mountain pose, standing tall and strong. If it's comfortable here, I invite you to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Return to breathing naturally here, in and out through your nose. And whenever you feel ready on an inhale, bring your hands to your hips. And if you haven't already, take the feet about slightly wider than hip distance, just barely. Just creating a little bit more space here for the hips to move. Then on your next inhale, we'll reach the arms out and up, stretch up tall. Interlace the fingers above you, holding tall. You can keep all the fingers connected, or I don't know why, but I like to extend the first finger straight up towards the ceiling. And then draw that low belly in and up again, activating the spine. You may notice when you do this that your pelvis was tilting, and then when you activate that, it comes a bit more neutral, at least mine does. See if you can keep that activation, and then as you exhale, start to lean to your left, creating some space along these right ribs. Now, if you're here and this feels good in your right ribs, but your arms don't want to let you stretch farther, you can instead bring that left hand to your left hip. Just don't push with the left hand. And take one more breath here. And then on your inhale, we'll come all the way back up to center. And exhale, lean to your right. Same option here. You can let that right hand come to that right hip. Just don't push into the hip with the hand. Inhale, come all the way back up to center. Then exhale, release your hands through your heart. And bring your hands to your hips. Once your hands are back on your hips, toe heel the feet out even wider still. So we're gonna go fairly wide. So if you extend your arms, your ankles are just about beneath your wrists. Maybe not quite that far, but somewhere in that general region. And then keep the heels where they are, but turn the toes out about 45 degrees. So they're pointing towards the edges of your mat. Yep. And then if you've practiced with me before, you know where this is going. If you haven't, bring your hands to your hips. Activate that core, draw that low belly in and up, finding that neutral pelvis. And then on an exhale, we're going to start to bend at the knees, and we want the knees to track over the ankles. So if when you bend your knees, they aren't tracking, see if maybe adjusting where your heels are will adjust the direction that they go. So we don't want our knees to turn in or out of the ankles, just moving in that same region. Then once you find that, exhale and sink the hips down as much as you can. Well, this posture has a lot of names and a lot of different practices. It can go by goddess pose or horse pose or squat, lots of names. But wherever you are, settle in, make sure that you feel strong, check in that those knees are tracking over the ankles, make any adjustments you need. Hands can stay here on the hips, come to the heart, or you can take the elbows to the same height as the shoulders and lift the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Keep that core strong. And you can breathe here, or you can kind of rock gently side to side. Some like to bounce a little, coming in and out of the squat slightly. Wherever you are, keep breathing. Getting some fire going in the thighs. You can take big bounces, whatever your body needs. We'll take one more breath here. And on your inhale, straighten your legs. Let them rest for a moment. And then keep the heels where they are, turn the toes back forward. So towards the front edge of the mat. And they don't have to be perfectly parallel here, just somewhere that is comfortable and forward-ish. And then activate that core, drawing the low belly in and up. Keep that strong. Hands can be on the hips if that feels stable. Inhale up tall. Exhale, we're gonna hinge from our hips forward, folding through these wide legs. Hands can stay on the hips. Come to a block, or come all the way down to your mat, wherever you feel most stable. And inhale, extend the spine, lift halfway, kind of like we were in those forward folds with our legs together. Then exhale, fold deeply, bend back at the elbows, let the crown of the head come down towards the floor. Keep breathing here. One more breath. Then on your next inhale, lift halfway. And if your hands are on your mat or a block, keep them there so that you feel stable and supported. And then kind of toe heel the feet back in slightly so that your heels are outer hip distance apart. So this depends person to person, but maybe about 1.5 to 2 feet wide. And then toes still turning out slightly like they were in goddess pose. And keep those there. And as you exhale, start to bend the knees deeply, tracking over the ankles, sinking the hips, maybe lower down this time, so the hips may come to all the way pointing down at your mat. If you start to hinge and your feet feel unstable, maybe walk them in a little bit closer. Test that out. This one takes some experimentation. Hands can stay on your block, on your mat, or palms come to touch. If your palms touch, you're using your elbows to keep your knees opening wide. And breathe here in Malasana, garland pose. Take one more breath. On your next exhale, bring your hands back to your mat or your block, and then rock forward so that you come onto the balls of your feet. Inhale, press into the feet to lift the hips, forward fold. Breathe here for a moment. Then whenever you're ready, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale and fold. Inhale, we'll come all the way back up to stand, reaching the arms out and up, stretch up tall. And exhale, hands to your heart. Then from here, whenever you're ready, we'll make our way back to seated in whichever way feels the best for you. So you can move your props out of the way and just make your way to a seat. Or you can inhale, sweep the arms out and up, stretch up tall. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold, plant your hands, bend your knees slightly. Step your feet back, downward facing dog, just for a breath. Then exhale, lower your knees to your mat, hips to your heels, and come to your comfortable seat. So we won't be seated for long, so we might not need the blanket, but if you do, go ahead and grab it. And then decide what feels best for your body, seated on your knees or seated with the legs crossed or extended long, whichever makes the most sense for you today. And then once seated, take a moment to ground down. Reconnect with this moment, your breath, your body connecting to your mat. And whenever you feel ready, bring that left hand to the outside of the left hip. I like to be up on my fingertips because if I put my palm flat, that means I'm leaning into it. And we don't want to lean, we want to keep the spine tall. If on the fingertips you're still leaning a little bit, you can bring a block here for support, and that might let you ground the whole hand down, whatever feels best. And then once that feels grounded and stable, on an exhale, we're going to bring this right hand to the left knee. So we're already starting to twist a little bit here, but don't use this hand to pull you into a twist. It's here for support. Once it's there, inhale, sit up tall, draw the low belly in and up. And exhale, twist to your left. Same thing, this right hand is not pulling into the twist, it's here for support. Stay lifted tall, try not to lean to your left, just twisting the spine slightly. Then on your next inhale, start to untwist, bring that right hand back to the right knee, left hand to the left knee, and we'll take the same twist opposite direction. So give yourself time to set up with the right fingertips to the outside of the mat, either on the mat or on a block. Then whenever you feel ready, on an exhale, left hand comes to that right knee. Inhale, sit up tall, extend the spine. Exhale, twist to your right. And on your next inhale, untwist, start to come back to center. And whenever you feel ready, we'll make our way to lying down on our backs. In whatever way makes the most sense for you, we'll make our way there. I like to plant my feet firmly on the front of the mat. Hold on either at the front of the knees or behind the shins. Inhale, sit up tall, extend the spine, draw the low belly in and up. Then exhaling, start to slowly lower down. And once down, you might come to your elbows, or you might come all the way down onto your shoulders. Once you come to lying down, take a moment to move and shift in any way that feels right. Maybe rocking the knees gently side to side. May feel nice to take the feet wide, almost as wide as the mat, and slowly windshield wiper the knees. So not moving fast here. Moving slow and gentle. Getting a little release in those hips. And let the knees come back to neutral. Take one more moment to move however feels best. Maybe hugging the knees in close and rocking. Or stretching the arms up overhead. And whenever you feel ready, we'll make our way to Shavasana, our final resting pose. Legs can extend long down the mat. Check in that our shoulders aren't crunching up, so you may actually lift a little bit and draw the shoulder blades down and back away from your ears, and then let yourself settle in, almost imagining that your shoulder blades are supporting underneath of your heart, like cradling it. Let the feet rest however they naturally fall with gravity. Try not to fight that. Let the arms rest down and out along your sides. Palms turn to face up. Then give yourself permission here to settle into stillness. Starting to gently allow the muscles to soften and settle into this rest. If it's comfortable here, I invite you to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Return to breathing naturally in and out through your nose as you settle in. As you settle, allow yourself a moment to check in with your body. Noticing the things that you feel and the spaces that you feel them. Right now, just acknowledging those feelings and those spaces rather than judging them. We don't want to apply a label to those feelings as good or bad. They just are a part of our reality today. And allow your awareness to fall to your breath. Noticing the gentle rise and fall of your chest and your belly with each breath. And soften the muscles of your jaw. Allow it to rest into gravity. Allow your tongue to gently fall away from the roof of your mouth. Soften the muscles between your eyebrows. And settle in here as you breathe.
Gently begin to deepen your breath. When you feel ready, bring soft movement back to your fingers and your toes, wrists, and ankles. Then taking your time, whenever you're ready, gently roll to lying on your right side. And take a moment here to just breathe. Reconnect with your breath, your body, and the space all around you. And when you feel ready, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Thank you so much for taking time for yourself today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Hi, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed our practice today. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe so we can practice together again. And if you have requests for our next practice, leave me something in the comments to let me know. I hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.